Hey there, this is Dave from The Greg and Dave Show. Thank you for listening to the following broadcast here on Public House Media.
This is Kim Meyer, host of Choose to Rise, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Choose to Rise, where we talk about positive mindsets, uplifting content that just helps you improve your life overall. A new show comes out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in podcast version, or you can catch me live on the Public House Media Facebook page every weekday or morning around 6:45 Central Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Choose to Rise. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcasts on Public House Media.
And welcome to Loud and Proud. What would it be like if you were living in a body that was slowly turning into bone? Every part of your body turning into bone. Tonight, we're going to talk about that. Welcome to Loud and Proud, a show about disability, by disability, and for disability. Thanks always to Public House Media for providing us with this platform to have the show. I'm your host, Nicole Kelly. I myself was born with just one hand, and I've spent the past few years of my life traveling and speaking at schools and universities across the country on the topic of disability. Do you live with a disability? If so, hello, and welcome to a place where you can get connected to experts in our community, find thought leaders who are making changes, and speaking out. Remember to hit subscribe, and it will actually tell you every Monday at 8:30 when we are going live. You can do that right here. If you're watching after the fact, after live or on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so you actually know when new episodes are coming out and you can keep up to date with the show there. Feel free, of course, to share the show if anything I say or my guest says resonates with you. The whole entire goal of this show is to educate as many people as possible. And the more people who watch, the more people we can actually educate through the awesome power of conversation. So let's go on to the highlight of my show. As always, my amazing guest. Tonight we have with us my friend, Miss, okay, wait for it. Here she comes. Miss Ashley Kurpiel. Hello.
Hi.
Miss Ashley, can you tell us first where you are? Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm in Peachtree City, which is just south of Atlanta.
And I was telling you before we went live, I was just in Atlanta yesterday, and it is way warm there compared to where I am in Chicago. It's -7 here. What is it in Atlanta right now?
Right now, it is a whopping 22 degrees, which is freezing for Georgia.
Does it ever get that cold there?
Very rarely. Very, very rarely. We're not liking it.
Yeah, I'm not liking it here. It really is. You probably can hear it. I right next to me have my tiny space heater going because it's so cold that I just have to have it like heat blowing on my face.
Not a fan.
So Miss Ashley, you live life with the disorder called FOP. Can you first tell us what FOP stands for and what it means actually to live with FOP?
FOP is a mouthful, but it stands for Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva, which is basically, they call it the Stone Man syndrome, where basically our body is growing a second skeleton, muscles, ligaments, tendons literally turn to solid bone, where it's mind-blowing. I have it, and we know of like maybe 800 in the world. It's like living in a straitjacket. It mobilizes the body. Like you eventually won't be able to walk. So it's until you see it or know it, like nobody ever hears about it. It's insane.
So, and this is a slow process, correct? How slowly? Because you at one point were very, very extremely mobile, right?
Right. We all have it, but we're all affected differently. So it's hard to say, but
sure.
I was walking normally up until probably my late teens. And then I had maybe a 1/4 inch difference in my hip. So they had added my shoe like a 1/4 inch. And then when I was 25, my leg really went on me. And now I have a 5-inch platform flip flop. So my mobility decreased a lot in my mid-20s. And I'm 36 now, but I can't complain about mobility because I'm still kind of mobile, but I'm kind of not. So I'm not in between right now.
You're at an in-between phase. And you actually, I know in your story, when you were little and they were trying to actually diagnose you, they, of course, because this is such a rare disorder, had a hard time figuring it out. And they actually amputated one of your arms, correct? Can you tell us, I know you were very little at the time, but can you tell us a little bit about that process or what you've been told about actually figuring out what FOP was?
Right, exactly. I was adopted actually. My birth mother was young and unwed and not ready for kids. So I was placed with my parents when I was 9 weeks old, healthy baby, nothing was wrong with me. And when I was about 2.5, my mom noticed my right shoulder was swollen and red and it just didn't look right. So they went to the doctor, and under the biopsy, the doctor came back and said that I had infantile fibromatosis, which is a form of cancer. So back in 1984, you don't watch cancer. You just, like that doctor said, let's wait and see what happens. And my mom and dad weren't okay with that. So they took me to another doctor for a second opinion. And he said the same thing. The biopsy came back in time and said it's infantile fibromatosis, but let's remove the tumor and let's get rid of it. So not even a couple weeks before my 3rd birthday by that time happened, went in for surgery to remove the said tumor. And 5 hours into the surgery, he came out, told my parents the cancer spread. There's nothing they could do to save my arm. They would have to amputate my whole arm and shoulder. And, can he do it? And they're like, yes, save our little girl. Do what you got to do. And it wasn't until 6 months after the arm came off that the number one doctor that diagnosed me called my parents on the phone and said, hey, Ashley has FOP. He never said I didn't have cancer, but we know I didn't. But he said Ashley has FOP, explained what it was. And he's like, it's so rare. She's progressing so rapidly. Like, I was 3.5 at that time. He's like, she might live to see her 10th birthday. Like, there's nobody out there. So good luck. And, kind of left it at that. So left my parents with nothing. And they had no clue. And back in the mid 80s, we didn't have the internet back then. So my parents really were alone in that community. And I was young, so I don't remember it, but it was a nightmare for them and very kind of hard for them to still talk about it, going through everything they went through emotionally with me, because they thought they were losing me. They didn't know, but obviously doctors were wrong, and I'm glad they were, but I'm, still here today, and I just turned 36 last month. So
That's amazing. Do you remember connecting with other people with FOP? Do you remember, did you have a moment where you were like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone in this?
I have been very fortunate and been part of the FOP community since our organization began. We call it the IFOPA, and that organization was started in 1988 by Jeannie Pieper, who at the time, I met her just before she really started the organization. My mom had found her just by fate, but by the National Organization of Rare Disorders group, my mom found FOP, and through them, they contacted my mom with Jeannie, and that's when my mom knew FOP wasn't a death sentence. So because of Jeannie and that organization, I've met our first couple kids. I was 8 years old at our first little mini conference. We had a family gathering up in Disney World in 1991. And since then, I've only missed one to date, and all the gatherings, the symposiums. So I've been in this community since the beginning, and I've met so many people. And when I was little, I was shy, I was reserved. I wouldn't talk to people if I didn't know them. So I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. But when I was 8 at this conference, I told my mom at Disney, like, I got back to I think we stayed at the Ronald McDonald House, but I ran into the room and I'm like, Mom, I'm so glad I have FOP. I finally have friends, because nobody would want to be friends. It was more the girl with one arm they didn't like, because kids are kids and they don't know. And it was tough as a little elementary school kid, but the FOP side kind of opened that door, knowing other kids with that at a young age. Totally.
Well, and we also, before we went live, we're talking about, the limb different community specifically. And as strange as it sounds, I'm glad that, had they not amputated, I don't know that we would have ever met, because certainly the reason we met was because of limb different kind of camps and communities in which we both have connected to. So that has been another strong support of a community for you. I'm wondering, and maybe there isn't a difference, but in your brain, how do you have to separate out having one hand and having FOP, or are they kind of one and the same to you, the experience of dealing with people? Does that make sense when you're interacting with people?
To me, FOP as an adult is harder dealing with, more physically, obviously, because it is like physically I can't do anything for myself. Like, because FOP is so limiting, I need help showering, dressing, washing my hair. Like, pretty much I can brush my teeth, I can do my makeup, I can feed myself, but I'm in a wheelchair, so I have to be pushed. Like, FOP is limiting that way, where having one arm it's because I grew up with the one arm. I had a prosthetic briefly a few years ago just because I wanted to try it. Yep. But it's like adding a third arm on somebody that already has two. Like, what am I going to do with this? Right. So in the sense, like, both have made me who I am, but they both, I'm both in both communities wholeheartedly, because they're both a part of who I am, but I'm the only amputee with FOP.
Yes.
But one girl with FOP got mad at me because I said something about my amputee family a few years ago on Facebook, and she's like, "Oh, you love your amputees more than your FOP, and you were an FOP person first." And I'm like, "Excuse me, I became an amputee, and then I knew I had FOP after I became an amputee." But they're just one and the same, I guess, but both a little different. So it's
it is interesting because you really do have to. It is. You are the only one who kind of crosses into both of them. So although it is one and the same for you, it is two varied groups, kind of socially, which is interesting. So tell us, are there any cures for FOP? Have you gone through any drug trials? Are there any drug trials in the future? We talked about this, of course, before, so I'm setting her up for.
Basically, growing up, honestly, I never had hope because we were so rare. Like, growing up, there was very few people. Like, now, today, 2018, like, there's less than 800 in the world. Like, I never imagined anything like a cure would even be in my future. But in 2006, our doctors, through almost 20 years of research, they found that FOP gene in 2006. So because of that, fast forward to 2015, FOP drug trials started, and I was one of the first to start on that drug trial in 2015. And since then, I got off that drug, and now 2018, I'm going to be the first person with FOP to start this new drug trial that is going to be a part of. There's only so much I can say about it because it is a trial and liability and stuff like that. But there is I tell parents now that I never had hope. Like, they have little kids with FOP and they're brokenhearted, but I'm like, there's hope for your kids. They're not going to have to go through what we went through. And it's painful. People with FOP, because of that bone growth, it is painful and it's not fun. And I'm crying in pain. I'm like, just give me the stupid mobility loss and take the pain away. But I'm telling these parents, they're not going to have to go through this, what we went through, because there is hope now. And I sat and I cried going through this. I cannot believe we're sitting here today and this is going to be happening. And the cure is just years away, where I thought it would be lifetimes away. And I thought I'd be long gone before that happened.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to be a part of this history. And once a cure for FOP happens, it's going to help osteoporosis, brittle bone. It's going to be a domino effect for so many hundreds of other and millions of people with other issues. So it's mind-blowing how this is going to affect everybody in the world.
And you get to be the first trying this drug trial.
Yes, exactly. And it's so amazing. It's really awesome to be part of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It gets me the chills.
What is the which gene is it? Do you
the ACVR1. That's the name of it.
But great.
It's one gene that is literally turned around the wrong way in the body, and that's what causes FOP. But one thing, obviously I can't show you because the camera's way up here, but I call it FOP toes. So each toe on the foot, the big toe, is missing its first knuckle, and our toes are shorter. So if people know the FOP toe, I forget the statistics, but so many people get misdiagnosed with FOP because it's so rare. but we're the only condition with this, what we call the FOP toes. So it's just this one nut where we don't have 2 knuckles in that toe. We're missing that first knuckle. So it's the FOP toe. We have FOP, and all of us have it, and we're the only condition, which is kind of like the telltale sign. So
how fascinating. Yeah. That's so interesting. So you now at the age of 36, what parts of your body are statued?
Right now, my shoulder, I can reach my chin, but let's see if I can stand up, my arm, I can only go up and down.
Yeah.
It's stuck fused at my side.
You can't, so you cannot move it side to side.
I go up, And when I turn, that's very little neck movement. Up and down, I can't even do it all. And from my neck to my hip, I'm literally fused. So if I turn, I literally have to turn my whole body. And my leg, it's hard to show on the video, but I call my bad leg, it's in the semi-sitting position. So when I stand up, it's probably a good foot off the floor. So I have a 5-inch flip-flop that keeps me standing up, and kind of my transfer shoe. So I can at least kind of hobble or walk to where I need to get to. But that leg is literally stuck in the semi-sitting position. So, but I can still get in and out. I can sit down. I can travel, get in planes. Some people are stuck standing up or laying down 24/7. They travel in ambulances to go to the the mall and stuff because they're in hospital beds. They can't sit up. They're stuck laying down, where this disease it can be pretty devastating. So
So tell people who may be listening, what is, if they are so moved, where can they find more information about FOP? Where could they give to research for FOP? What are kind of the resources that people can find if they wanted to find?
The website for FOP, all your information, whether you want to donate, research, find more about FOP, is our organization's website is ifopa.org. It's the International FOP Association, but ifopa.org, and everything they can find out about FOP is there. If they wanted even look up me, you can go on YouTube and see. I've been on so many different TV shows over the years.
Ashley's famous.
Yeah, they sent me to Russia to meet a girl with FOP 4 years ago. But they can just YouTube my name and see stuff I've been on, just to kind of see. And it shows some pictures too about other FOPers and whatnot. But it's a very insane, mind blowing. I say, I live with it, and it still blows my mind every day. It's fascinating. So.
Well, and Ash, we can put, after the show isn't live anymore, we can go on YouTube. We can find some of those clips, so we can post them in the comments below, so people will be able to actually click through and watch and see. Because I think in those shows, they're actually showing your movement and stuff as well too, correct?
And I call my walk my hobble. So it shows how I hobble upstairs, and I don't see myself live, obviously. So when I go back and see it, I'm like, how the heck do I walk like that? What? People must think I'm crazy. What the heck? How do I do that?
I feel the same way about just having one hand. And so I'm sure it's all the more dramatic when it's other parts of your body along with one hand.
Yeah, being part statue. Some people with FOP hate that, the term statue, but to people that don't understand or looking out, I'm not saying I'm not a statue. I'm a person. I have feelings. I get that, but physically, I can't move. So that's the reference where people understand that I'm turning to a statue, because that's the easiest reference that people can comprehend with it. And I love it. So I'm going to keep saying that, but it's just a lot easier for people that don't get it to kind of picture it in our head.
Yeah, sure. I'm wondering what is, if you have one, maybe you don't, what is your 2018 New Year's resolution? Sorry, that one wasn't a question.
I know. I honestly, just be happy. So, just kind of nothing major, but, I love the life I have, and, just no drama, just kind of stay away from that stuff and just be happy. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I I was telling Ashley, and it really is true. This is my good excuse to like have dates with people who it's been too long that I've connected with. It's my good excuse to catch up. So thank you so much. Is there if anyone is looking to reach out to you, what is a good way to be able to reach out and find you, Ash?
They can search me on Facebook, Ashley Kurpiel, and Instagram is at one armband, the number one armband _ flip flop. So those are the two places I'm at the most.
Her flip flop. That's right. Oh, actually, wait, before I let you go, you do also have to tell people about the dove hunt. Can you please tell us what the dove hunt is and when and what that is?
I go to this year, actually 2018 will be my 10th year, but the original name of it was the one-armed dove hunt, but it's in this little itty bitty town, Olney, Texas, and it started back in 1972 as a joke by two one-armed jacks. And it's been going on every year since then. So it literally is a place where one-armed people go and shoot doves. And when I first heard about it, I'm like, I don't hunt. I'm not a dude. Why do I want to go? And they're like, it's more than a hunt. You know, it's a family reunion. It's amazing. The people are awesome. The food is great. The city comes together. And I went for my first time in 2009, and I've been going back every year. And it's just, the people are so great. The friends that you meet there and the family and it's one of my favorite events I go. Like, that's one I almost missed last year, and I'm so glad I didn't. So
that you got,
because they have them, and we got to get you out there because you would love it. So,
I have been saying for Jean, the year I was Miss Iowa, one of the very first events I did was I went to ICANN in Baltimore, and Jean picked me up. And one of the very first things he told me about was the one-armed dove hunt. And ever since then, for 4 years now, I keep saying I need to try to get out there. So
Jean's the only one that's been to every single dove hunt.
Of course he has. We love you, Jean.
Right? So we're going to get you out there, Nikki. And Becca. You and Becca.
We've been called. We've been
called.
Yes,
we need more women. Come on. Yes.
I think it sounds hilarious. And so I would love to be a part of it. Awesome. Well, yet again, Ash, thank you so much for your time and for hanging out with me for a little bit. It was so good to catch up with you. And I hope that you have a very happy new year, and that once you kind of start your drug trials and, as you're going more and more often, maybe we can have you back and we can do an update on how that's going and what that's like for you to be in those trials.
I would love that anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.